Hey, it's James, Father's Rights and Resources, hashtag how I got custody. Something pretty cool happened in the comments the other day on my YouTube channel. This guy from North Carolina shared some case law that he found regarding the best interest of a child and when a parent alienates or withholds a child from another parent. So it made me remember, when I first did Instagram and my first Instagram page, I get my TikTok and Instagram suspended regularly. When I first did it, I put a map on there and said, hey, you want to tell people what state you're in? You could DM each other and talk to each other and collaborate. Because if I got people who are following me and you're one of the few fathers out there, few mothers out there who are willing to grow some balls and fight this stuff the right way, if you have two or three other people in your state that are doing the same thing, and learning how to get on the offensive, you guys can help each other out because one of you can find something out that the other one needs that they didn't find out. I actually had a few people dealing with move away cases or relocation cases in California. There was a case where they stopped the mother from moving. There's a couple cases where they're allowing the mother to move. So I asked those people if they want to talk to each other. So I gave each other their contact information and stuff. After they agreed. So maybe whether you're on, it's harder on YouTube because you can't really DM each other right away. But maybe you want to put your name or just your state. You don't have to put your name, but just put your state that you're in the comments on TikTok and Instagram, maybe on YouTube, and you go back and forth in the comments with each other. And if you're in the same state, you got the same laws, the same civil rules of procedure, the same case law, and you guys can work with each other and glean off of each other. And then maybe you want to save money and do a joint consultation with me. I mean, that might be complicated. People have totally different issues. But if you're on the same page with something, so I don't mind people collaborating here. Like I said, you know, I'm not here in competition with anybody. I'm not here to hustle anybody. Whatever can work for you guys getting answers through my free videos and collaborating with one another. I got a couple clients. If they're interested, they could just start a men's group in their region. I'm all for that because all the fathers' rights groups out around the country that were decent before fizzled out. The last one that I know of is Ohio Family Rights with Ray Lautenschlager, but that guy hates me because I told him, you're not going to get your 50-50 laws passed, and he didn't get them passed, so that thin-skinned little bitch's butt hurt because I called it like I saw it. And he didn't want to hear that because that was his little project, his little baby, and he got aroused by every time he did a speech in front of people and did a photo op with a legislator, and he was going through that typical fathers' rights group process or fathers' rights movement process. But you guys who maybe you can only afford a couple of appointments with me here and there because you guys are broke or whatever. If you work with each other, you guys could share talks and time and share information or both collaborate. Hey, you look up this type of thing and I'll look up this type of thing. Or, I've been to that courthouse, or especially if you guys have been to the same courthouse or in the same county. That's really helpful to give each other shortcuts on stuff like that because sometimes these counties don't even put their rules of procedure out there. You got to go and figure it. It's like in Washington State, particularly in King County. If you Google King County local family law rules, and you look up I think it's 6, 5, 6, and 10, or if you look up King County local rules in general and look up Rule 7, there's a specific bunch of procedures. When you file a motion, you got to give a couple weeks notice. The other side gets to reply a week before a hearing. And then you get to do a reply to their, it goes motion, response, reply. You get to reply to their response a few days before the hearing. And then you got to confirm the hearing. It used to be you had to call, now you got to submit working papers. It tells you where to deliver working papers to the judge's mailroom so the judge has a working copy or bench copy. It says, here's your page limit, here's this and that, and here's the room. And here, it's very specific in every step-by-step procedure and motions. There's a lot of states where they just say, file a motion with the clerk and wait on the judge to schedule a hearing. You don't know days and times. You don't even know if the judge wants his own extra working copy or bench copy on top of what you file. You don't know what the deadlines are for serving. There's a lot of places where they don't have the rules laid out, and the attorneys just know them, and it's the attorney's club, and pro se's are kind of out of the loop. So Some of you guys, there's a lot of you guys. I got 70 or 7,500, something like that, almost 8,000 followers on YouTube. A bunch of you are in the same state. Some of you are in the same county. I get some repeat counties, especially New York cases, LA cases. Where else do I get? Sometimes I get Michigan. I get a lot of Florida cases. You know, I've talked with people in every state across the country. And, you know, if you're in Hawaii, it's so tight and small there. You know, or places like Connecticut or Rhode Island, it's really small there. So if you got somebody in the same state, they probably can really help you. You guys can glean off one another. So if you want to, put your state name in the comments. If you do that on TikTok or Instagram, DM each other and say, hey, do you want to talk and collaborate or whatever? Now, you're going to get more expertise on, you know, direct things that help your case that a lot of people, you know, you're working with somebody probably who's only been in the court system for a couple of years. I've been doing this, you know, I'm going to be going on 25 years pretty soon, 23 years. So, but there's still stuff you can glean off of each other, or you guys can, you know, if one of you's been to the courthouse or been in a judge's courtroom, or you generally know how the rules are for your entire state, like, hey, you got to go to the courthouse and do this before you have a hearing, or do that. Or one of you's about to do something and the other one's about to do the same thing, and you guys can glean off each other. Did it work? Did you file it okay? Instead of talking to me and me spending twice as much time. If you're there in your state, you can go to the courthouse and look at stuff and find out stuff that I can't if it's not in the rules or if it's not online. So, you know, usually, almost always, I can find everything that anybody needs to know because most of it's online, or you can call somebody, dig, and do some research. But that could take me hours or days or weeks to do that, like it did when I was starting off my own case in Washington before. But if you're there and you go to the courthouse and talk to the facilitator, talk to the clerk, and ask them where the laws are, where the rules are, maybe it's a secret, then you can get down to the nitty gritty and get answers faster than I can. So anyway, just an idea about you guys collaborating. You know, I'm going to show you this comment from this guy. Case law elaborates on the law, helps you find out more details about. Okay, so here's my video on a little bit of lesson on case law. And then this guy said, case law is so important. A good one I found on someone else's YouTube the other day was Deans versus Deans out of North Carolina Court of Appeals. Any parent who completely severs the child relationship with the other parent, barring extreme circumstances, has clearly shown an inability to the best interest of the child. So, if that's any folks in North Carolina should use that. Now, in other states, they can use case law from another state, but they don't have to. So when you use case law from another state, that's an advisory or discretionary legal authority that the courts may follow. Case law in your own state, that's mandatory authority. They have to follow the law. They have to follow Court of Appeals decision. They have to follow state Supreme Court decision in your own state. But the other states, they could use that as an influence. And I've seen case law in states where they say, oh, we don't have case law on that issue. Like, let's say it was a Nevada case. But New Mexico said this and Colorado said that. We're going to start adopting that. That makes sense. They can glean off of what another state says, but they don't have to follow it. So some of you guys can, this North Carolina case law that I mentioned, some of you guys in other states can use it. And you probably should look it up unless you find something like that in your own case and say, hey, look, North Carolina is recognizing this. You should do the same thing if a higher court in North Carolina said that. So this is where some of you guys' comments, if you know something that you think people should know, go ahead and drop it in the comments. If you're struggling and need some help, don't just drop in the comments, this is how I lost, and I lost this, and I lost that, and I lost that. I just did a YouTube short on why the hell are people somebody just dropped an entire story about all the different ways her son lost. She came across a page with answers, and she didn't have her son reach out for help. That's insane to me. You know, like I said in the video, you go to a doctor's office and say, hey, my head hurts here and I have this ringing in my ears. It's been hurting me for 2 weeks and it's tormenting and I can't stand it. And then you walk out of the doctor's office? You'd have to be a total dumbass to do that. That's like people coming in the comments and coming in and leaving a comment. This is how I lost. I need attention. Somebody give me a hug. Bye. You really don't care enough to use some common sense to say, oh, wait, this guy's got some answers. Let me get some help from here. But we can all help each other out. If you know something or found something, drop it in the comments. If somebody, for the few people who do read the comments and pay attention and glean off it, help them out, or drop your state in the comments on TikTok, Instagram, or YouTube, and see if people will talk.